Hello friends, Christian Nix back here again with you. And I'm not a big motivational guy. I figure if you're sick with reflux, IBS, diverticulitis, Crohn's disease, gluten sensitivity, etc., I figure you have all the motivation you need. Or let's just say, if you don't have a strong motivation to get well, then probably nobody can help you, or keep going to your doctor and hope that that works out. If you've been following any of my material for any length of time, you know that modern medicine is not really it ain't a good bet, right? For something like digestive illness, they just don't have a lot of tools to help you, unfortunately. That's the reality. Our modern medical system is really, really, really good at emergency conditions, but boy, you get a chronic internal imbalance, which is what digestive illness is. Your organs start working at cross purposes. This organ is actually causing illness in another organ, and this organ starts causing illness in another. And when one of them goes out of balance, they all go out of balance. So that's the basis, and that's the fundamental bedrock logic of what I'm teaching you inside my protocols. To understand how this organ, your liver, affects your spleen, affects your stomach, affects your intestines, etc., and how they all interact, how they break down, and what symptoms occur when that's happening, and then how you get them all to link back up like gears, right? And they mesh together, and then they start working together. You harmonize. Harmonize, it's actually a technical term in the medical system that I'm teaching you. When you say you harmonize organs, you get the organ to work together with the other organs. Because obviously none of your organs operate in isolation. So, I'm not a big motivational guy, but I want to say a few words to anybody who's feeling overwhelmed. If you've been sick for 6 months or longer, and most of you have been sick for a lot longer than 6 months. If you've had symptoms and you wake up in the middle of the night and your belly's burning and you're belching all the time and you keep getting half-digested food and bile and acid and maybe you have ridiculous explosive diarrhea or really, really severe constipation and you're bloated and you get abdominal pain and just on and on and on day after day, then you know what it's like to really be in hell with digestive illness. And, it's worth saying that, first of all, as bad as your situation may be, and I don't care how bad it is, like if you're alive and you're able to watch this video, I've dealt with, personally, but also I've dealt with patients, I got sick 20 odd years ago and I actually didn't think, I thought I might not survive. As I sit here today, I'm 165 pounds, but I was down to about 147, and I look like a cadaver, and I couldn't sleep, and my friends I saw the looks on some of my friends' faces when I was really battling illness, and they were trying to be polite and not say too much, but I mean it was frightening to see what they saw, because I could see in the reflection of their own countenance, right, looking at me like, whoa, what's the matter, man? Like, are you going to be okay, kind of thing? And so I know what that feels like, and I've dealt with patients throughout my career when I was doing a lot of clinical medicine, people just absolutely, like, no hope left, really desperate, like clinging to life, hoping that something is going to get better and that they can improve. And so I've seen it, and I've heard the worst stories. And, when you're in that situation, it's important to have something to cling to. It's very important that you have some kind of notion that, I can still see my way out of this. And so I'm going to put one foot in front of the next and try to go forward and put my health back together. So, for the purposes of helping you see your way out of serious, hardcore, long-term digestive illness, which I know a lot of you are dealing with. The important point of this video is to how to avoid overwhelm. When you're really, really sick, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed. And what I want you to understand about the program that I've put together for you in my protocols is that nothing in there is designed to just, I'm not manipulating anybody emotionally by saying, rah, rah, you can do it, right? What I'm telling you in this video and all throughout my training, what you get from me in putting your belly back together, and this should be a real comfort to you, which is why I'm shooting a special video for it, is how to do it. Okay? I think the best benefit of the protocols that I offer for acid reflux, right, at the upper digestive end, and then IBS and problems of essentially, right, in your lower abdomen and in your deep in your intestines and organs, that for both of these protocols, you're never at a point where you don't know what to do next. At every moment, you could go to the material. I'm not saying you're going to learn it all in 5 minutes or in a day. That's not realistic. Okay? When you're dealing with something hardcore like serious digestive illness, you need a little time to absorb these concepts. I know a lot of people watching this video, you won't even know what dampness is. It's not like we have that word or that concept in our modern medical system. But ancient medical systems like the one I'm teaching you had a very clear understanding of what dampness is, why it matters, how it causes illness, what to do about it, how to recognize it, where it goes and how it affects your body, how you get it out of there, right? And what else you need to be looking for. If you have dampness, you don't just have dampness, you have something else going on too. Usually like 3 or 4 other things going on. And what are you going to do about all of those things together? That's overwhelming, right? But if you study the pivot protocol, if you study the IBS protocol, you very quickly realize, you should realize, right, because this is all that's in there, there's no fluff in there at all. It's all how-to information. So you start here, you learn what's going on with your condition, you learn this different way of understanding your organs, you recognize your specific pattern of symptoms, you know which type you have, you know where to begin solving it, you can go to the solution section, you've taken good notes, so you know exactly what you need to treat, you know which supplements are going to help you, you know when to take them, you know what foods are going to cause what kind of symptoms, and also what foods are going to counteract your symptoms. You know how to combine foods, okay? You know how to, you know what order to eat your foods in. You know how to prep your meal so that it's easy to digest, so that your body is recovering instead of being beaten down further. Okay? If you have a flare-up, you know exactly what to do to get yourself out of that danger. All of these pieces are in there so that any moment, no matter where you are in your situation, it's like a map. It's like a compass. It's a magic compass that guides you out of wherever. If you're lost inside and you're so overwhelmed because you don't even know how to get yourself out of, like, what's the first step I need to take to get out of illness? I even did a video for this recently. You know, what's the very first thing I can do right now to feel better in the next 24 hours? Well, we have that. That information is in there. You know exactly what to do, and you know what to do once you've done that, right? And what's the next step, and the next step, so that at every point in your journey, no matter where you are, all the way to recovery, and then you've recovered, and you've made this material your own, and then, 10 years from now, you get a flare-up, or something goes wrong, or you have a horrible, stressful event in your life, and your digestion crashes, you go, I know exactly what to do. I know precisely how to deal with my symptoms, no problem, and you get yourself out of trouble quickly instead of spending, the next 5 years spinning your wheels and going to doctors and getting pills and getting sicker and more desperate and miserable. So that's the value of the material that I've put together. Don't be overwhelmed. There's no reason to be overwhelmed. Get busy again, go back and study, pick up where you left off, get into the material. If you've been through it and you've taken good notes and you got something out of it, go back through it. You need to go through it. Probably most people need to go through it 2 or 3 times. There's nothing wrong with this, right? There's nothing wrong. When you're learning something like medicine, there's nothing wrong with repetition, okay? Go through it again. Send me your questions. Keep them brief, please, right? I do respond to emails and try to coach people, even though I can't provide personal medical advice. But knowing where to go next is a it lifts the burden off of you. You don't ever have to feel like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so sick, I don't know what to do. Well, if you've been through the protocols, you know what to do. You know exactly what to do. So you never have to feel overwhelmed. You never have to feel like there's no way out of this and I don't know how to make myself well again. Okay? And that really is my message for today. If you start to feel overwhelmed, if you feel completely beat down by your illness, take a moment, tell yourself, I can do this. Other people got the protocol, they did it, they got better. I can do it too. You know, that's all the positive thinking that you really need. Is like, other people did this, I can figure it out and do it too. I have to tell you, it took me a long time to put this material together, not because I didn't know it, but because I needed to make it simple enough. It's done at a 7th grade level. I'm going to assume that anybody who wants to learn something can figure out how to learn something that's written and produced and presented at a 7th grade level. If you're sick, you can figure out how to fix yourself using this protocol. So if you're overwhelmed, take a breath, stop, remember, all the steps that you need are in there, and tell yourself, I can do this. Okay? Because you can. You can. And when you do, send me your testimonial. I'd love to hear it. Okay? Thanks very much.